All right, welcome back. Before we get to Coach Jason Brown, I want to remind you all to hit the likes. We need 5,000 likes, but also want to remind you, I believe it's 9 p.m. Central Time. Royce White's nightly show or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show airs tonight. YouTube.com/Please Call Me Crazy. Need you to watch Royce's show tonight in particular. It's very good. I've talked with Royce about this. So if you're looking for something to do after our show, Royce White Show, YouTube.com/Please Call Me Crazy. It's going to be special and very good tonight. I want you to do that. I also want you to right now in the chat, in the comments, say a little prayer for me that I'm able to get through this next segment with JB. After what I just went through with Steve Kim, I need some positive energy so I can deal with the level of frustration Steve Kim just put me through. I hope, JB, I wasn't planning on asking you this, and Lord forgive me for asking this because I have no idea what JB's going to say. But Steve Kim just argued that Pau Gasol is worthy of having his jersey retired as a Laker because of what he did for Kobe Bryant. I've just never heard that argument. I always thought it was an individual. Magic Johnson's not retired because of what he did for Kareem. Kareem's not retired because of what he did for Magic. James Worthy isn't retired because of what he did for Kareem and Magic. These are individual things, but you live out in Los Angeles. You're a Lakers fan. I hope you have more sense than Steve Kim.
I love Steve, and his takes are usually spot on, but this one, it's about as off as that purple jacket of yours, man. I got to be honest. I truly think that Paul was very, very skillful, talented guy. But the Celtics punked him in that finals, and I lost all respect for him. I thought KG punked him. Even Kendrick Perkins punked him. And I lost a lot of respect for Pau Gasol. And he is not, even though he's a Hall of Fame skill set type of guy, he lost a lot of love in L.A. during that finals that they got beat in because of how soft he played. And I believe even Kobe Bryant called him out as being soft and said, if you weren't so soft, you'd be a Hall of Famer, no question. I can't put him in there for doing something for Kobe. I don't know if he did anything for Kobe. Kobe won 2 rings after Shaq, which was why I put Kobe in such high regard. But Paul is too soft for me. I just can't do it. I like Mark better than Pau.
As you've prone to do, you say so many different things that I get lost and frustrated. So I just got to, what's the matter with my jacket? I began the show asking for people's thoughts on my jacket. What's your problem with my jacket?
Is that lavender?
It's some kind of purple.
It's lavender.
It's some kind.
We can't be wearing lavender, Jason. You and I can't wear lavender. You imagine me with lavender? You imagine me wearing lavender right now? I'm getting killed by my crew.
Anyway, I'm a little.
Hold on, Jason. I got to let you know something.
Yeah. We
are who we surround ourselves with. We already are talking about Ja Morant and how soft his circle is and a bunch of yes men and yes, sir. Who is your circle? I got to have a conversation with your circle for allowing them to allow you to wear a lavender jacket on air.
JB, I think you're right. That's why I'm so insecure. But I began the show asking, something doesn't feel right about this jacket. And I thought it was it almost feels pink. The jacket, I saw it and it was purple in my head, but you're right. And you now just made me go look up lavender. And I'm like, this is lavender. I think you're right.
Hey, if it was Laker purple, it'd be different. Laker purple, deep rooted purple, maybe different. But lavender, Jason, I think you're going to take some heat on this.
Yeah, I think I deserve it. All right, let's get down to business here. This is another topic where I think we may end up agreeing. I don't have a problem with teams coming out on record and saying, "Nah, I'm not going after Lamar Jackson." I don't think this is collusion. I think it's common sense. I think that when a guy is asking for Deshaun Watson's amount of guaranteed money and he hasn't been available in 10 of the last 22 games, and I just told Steve Kim, availability is a nice little catchphrase for fans and sports broadcasters and all that. But I go with coaches, they actually authentically believe availability is the most important ability. And when you're not available, you can't demand $200 million guaranteed. You don't have the leverage to make that kind of demand. Am I right?
There's so many avenues to this one, man. First of all, I'm on record talking about just the inability of his passing efficiency. All right, we know he's a thrower, but his passing inefficiencies is number one on my board as to why you don't sign him, because the NFL has set the market at a high scale for wide receivers. Wide receiver marketplace is the highest we've ever had it in the history of the NFL. So that means the NFL wide receivers are going to only get better, and they're only going to get paid more. When you have more wide receivers in the NFL and better wide receivers than you do quarterbacks, there's a problem. We had 39 quarterbacks play in the NFL last year, Jason, who threw 100 passes or more. 39 quarterbacks. What does that tell you? That tells you that we have a mediocrity is our new excellence situation. The NFL is riddled with mediocre quarterbacks. And you have Lamar Jackson sitting right here in the middle, is a non-efficient passer with great receivers riddled through all the NFL. And you're going to pay a guy $200 million to do what? Run the football with great wide receivers in your offense? I mean, it's an oxymoron. It makes no sense. And the NFL owners, the NFL coaches know this. And I've only been saying it forever, but they know this. And it's just blatant, put on the wall. It's not collusion, Jason. It's fact. The bottom line is the guy has not performed to what they thought he would do. And receivers don't want to play there for the simple fact that he's a thrower and a runner. He's not a passer. And they don't want to go there. And the bottom line is they saw it. They said, all right, we know he's gone. We're going to get rid of our OC so it doesn't look as bad as us as it would if we just got rid of Lamar Jackson. We'll get rid of our OC first. Then we won't prioritize tag him. We'll low tag him so other teams can come forward and show that everyone is going to think the same way and no one's going to come after him with this $250 million contract. And again, I'm starting to look real good here, Jason. Similar to your Lavender, I think he's headed to Washington. And
Washington is one of the teams. Washington is one of the teams that's reported that doesn't have interest.
I don't believe that at all. That's fluff. And in this game, Jason, coaches say, I'm not interested at all in leaving this job. And the next day they're hired as the new coach. You hear this all the time. I think that's one of the only teams that actually can free up the space, will pay him more than he's worth. And I think that I think Miami's out. I don't think that's a good situation. I don't think the Raiders are going to pay anybody, period. And I don't think the Jets will pay Lamar Jackson $250. Now, I had a couple guys on today who think they would, but I think the Jets are all in on Aaron Rodgers right now, trying to make that happen. And I believe after Derek Carr signed a 2-year, $60 million deal, which it is for all the naysayers out there who thinks he's guaranteed $100 million. He's not. He's guaranteed $60 million, which Derek Carr, I think, is deservingly right about what he deserves for a 9-year vet. He has to get to year 3 and 4 to get that $100 million. I don't think he'll make the 3rd year in New Orleans. And I think now that he's set, You still have Tannehill out there. You still have Jimmy G out there. You still have guys like Jameis Winston out there, middle and lower of the pack type of guys. It all depends on where Aaron Rodgers lands, in my opinion, where Lamar goes. Because if Aaron Rodgers ends up in New York or Frisco or Vegas, which I think are the only three spots Aaron Rodgers can end up in now, even though I think Miami's the best spot for him, as I said on your show, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think if he lands in New York, I believe Washington is going to be the number one suitor for Lamar Jackson.
If I want you to come from a coaching perspective about going after Lamar Jackson and why his market isn't what he thinks it should be, and all these fans and broadcasters, all the pressure is on the coach. A coach has to raise his hand and say, yep, I want Lamar Jackson. And I know that if it doesn't go well, the media is going to totally exonerate Lamar Jackson. It's not, how come Baltimore did X, Y, and Z with Lamar? How come you couldn't? And so what coach wants to sign up for, it's all my fault? If Lamar comes here and gets hurt, if he throws interceptions, if he's hanging out in clubs, if he's doing if he doesn't perform, it's all my fault. That's the head coach's thought. And then if you're an offensive coordinator, you got to raise your hand and go, yep, I can build an offense that will maximize and have Lamar Jackson playing at an MVP level. And many of these offensive coordinators don't know how to do that. And then they also know that if, regardless of what system you put him in, if it doesn't work, it's all your fault. Lamar Jackson is high risk for any coach, in my opinion, because he's not going to take any blame.
There's one place, only one place in the NFL that fits what you're talking. Only one. So let's eliminate. Let's play process of elimination first. Eliminate McDaniel in Miami. He just finished year one. He had decent success. He faltered late. There's no way he can take on Lamar Jackson going into year two after the Tua debacle and all the issues that he's facing. There's no way. Not with that wide receiver core. He's like, I'm not touching him, similar to what you just stated. Then you go to New York. The Jets have two good of wideouts, the rookie of the year, the defense, possibly top 2 or 3 defense in the NFL, great running game. Cannot afford to take Lamar into Salah's year 3 of a head coach. I'm not going to risk it. You can go through all the league and talk. We can do this, all 32 teams. I can go through it. There's only one team that has a coach on the outs who has health issues, who just hired an assistant head coach who ran similar offensive scheme in Kansas City, who has a similar ad-lib type of guy who learned great things from a head coach like Andy Reid. And that's Eric Bieniemy, who's the coach in waiting, Jason, and you know it is, and Washington Commanders. That's it. Because
you're comparing.
Hold on, that head coach is a scapegoat.
You're comparing Lamar to Patrick Mahomes, and that's crazy.
No, I'm not. I'm not comparing those two at all. I'm comparing these similarities in offensive skill set and offensive game planning. You have to game plan an offense and build it around very similar skill sets, meaning that Lamar can ad-lib, tuck it and run. He can run RPO, but we can do something we couldn't do with Patrick. We can run true triple option and allow Lamar to actually run the football by design. And I can add that in Washington, where I know that Ron Rivera is waiting to go due to either health or not winning games. Eric Bieniemy is going to be plugged in there, and he's the assistant head coach. And dang well, Ron Rivera said, listen, let's go all in for Eric Bieniemy and get him Lamar Jackson. I think that's what they're doing. I think that's in the works. And I think that is the perfect fit to prove, A, Eric Bieniemy can do it, like everyone is kind of suspect on him. We think, Eric, let's go. Let's show it then, Eric. Show us you can do it by yourself. And I think it's the perfect scenario for all parties involved.
I could have swore, and you may be right, maybe it's all a smokescreen, but I could have swore they're saying Washington has no interest in Lamar Jackson.
Hey, by the way, I had a couple guys that played and coached in the NFL, and one of them in particular who coached Terry McLaurin. And I told him what I told on your show last time. I said, I think Lamar fits Washington much better than Miami because of the half-filled reads, the play action to run to McLaurin, certain things. I'm not saying that, just not saying this just to prove that I'm right or anything, but they agree, even though they said some things they agreed to some things you said. They agree, though, that they need to that whatever team takes Lamar has to be a half-filled read team. He can't go in here and read the full field. And what teams remain out there? Because you're not going to get rid of two receivers, Jason, and trade them up to get two running backs in a running back league that the average lifespan is 2 years. You're not going to do it. You see, they just tagged Saquon Barkley and signed Daniel Jones to a $190 million deal, a guy who threw 15 touchdowns. That is how bad quarterback play is in the NFL right now. We're having to sign Daniel Jones at $190 million because we're so scared what's behind him. We don't want to start all over and go get a rookie, and we don't want to trade for a Carson Wentz, Tannehill, Jimmy G. We don't want to go that route either. So I'm just telling you, Saquon Barkley we can lose Saquon. We can lose running backs in the NFL. They don't last very long. They're not durable. He's already off an injury. They're not going to pay him $12 or $13 million a year. They tried that in Dallas with Zeke. You saw how that worked. They just tagged Pollard because Zeke is old and he's getting up there in age. And now you're trying to trade Derrick Henry, Jason. What does that tell you? NFL running backs means not for long. We don't really need you that long. And it's become a pass-happy league, and running backs are very, very soon forgotten. And I think Derrick Henry is going to be a Buffalo Bill. I think that Diggs is going to be traded. And I think Diggs will end up in Dallas with his brother. And I think Josh Allen will be upset, and he'll have to, they're going to get Derrick Henry to say, we have to run the football, Josh Allen, or you're not going to survive very much longer in this league. And it's going to force the Buffalo Bills to be better offensively by running the football. And I think that's the best trade they can make, is get Derrick Henry in Buffalo. And I think that is just showing you, my point is, the quarterback marketplace is so finicky, because if Daniel Jones signed for this much, Jason, what do you think is going on in Jalen Hurts' head right now? Ding, 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 ding. I beat this guy 3 times. I went to the Super Bowl. I want $300 million now. The marketplace is getting stupid. Geno Smith just signed a $105 million deal, comeback player of the year, first time really starting in the league for a full season. I mean, come on. This is getting bad. At some point, I almost want to see the NFL create a separate salary cap for quarterbacks. Because at this point right now, you're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs roster, Jason, speaking of your team. Look what they did. They didn't tag Orlando Brown, his best left tackle, and they just lost 2 possible starters on defense because that $500 million contract of Patrick Mahomes kicks in this year. And they have 11 picks in free agency, or 11 picks in the draft. How many picks do you think 11 picks in this draft is really going to help that team that's veteran driven? Not a lot. So you got to go find a left tackle that's better than Orlando Brown Jr. You're not going to find it. And I'm just telling you, that roster's starting to get real mathematical in your thinking. And the Kansas City Chiefs, don't be surprised if they're the next LA Rams. Just let's win a few Super Bowls, and we don't care. Let's win a couple. Hey, Chiefs got 2 rings. You can't really say nothing bad about them. They got 2 rings. They've been to 3 Super Bowls. They got the job done. The Rams won last year. They got the job done. But now look at the Rams roster. Jalen Ramsey wants out. Their roster's old. It's decrepit. They can't pay anybody. And
yeah, I can tell you 2 guys the Rams don't have. I really, you really annoy me when you talk Chiefs because you don't put enough respect on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's who the Rams don't have. So, of course, it's falling apart.
I love Andy Reid.
Same thing's not good.
Andy Reid's
Same
great.
thing. Yeah, so's Patrick Mahomes. And so the Rams don't have that, and that's why it's falling apart. The Chiefs have a quarterback-coach combo that is second to none, second only to Tom Brady.
I love when people say we have like you're on the roster. By the way, the Chiefs don't wear lavender. They wear red. So get a red jacket on and then say we.
I gotta remember how much I paid for this jacket.
Who wears lavender?
I literally.
Do the LA Sparks wear
I
lavender?
don't know, but if I cut it in half, maybe I can give it to Tiffany and she can wear it.
I can't wear the
You know,
lavender.
it's funny. One of our producers, Christian, and this is the truth. Christian, tell me if I walk in, he goes, I love the jacket. First, that is what you said. When I walked into the studio, that's what you said. I love the jacket. And I'm questioning him.
Don't tell me my main man Christian's a yes man.
No, I didn't even ask a question. I just walked in. Hey, I love the jacket. And so you're right. You know, you can't trust these young people that I'm working with. But thank you, JB. I got to go.